Oh, well,
we are due a theme song. Not a theme song, an intro jingle.
a theme song would also be good.
The theme song would be glorious.
It's not just, we are recording
for you. No, if we had a jingle, I think that would help with...
Erdea.
Welcome back to the Pudding Boys, everyone. I'm Blore.
I'm Naylor.
This week I was saying to Naylor, I've been trying to classify what the Pudding Boys is in an attempt to not better market it, but better like describe and structure it. But because the Pudding Boys isn't like a podcast about a thing, it's difficult.
Yeah, we don't know enough about anything.
And I don't want to do the research.
No, we want to cast a fairly strong, fairly quick opinion on the event of the day.
Yeah.
And then forget all about it. We don't want to have to understand the long-term ramifications of
I don't
things.
want people to be pulling me up on what I say because I'm supposed to be an expert on it.
No, I'm fairly sure I've contradicted myself since episode 10.
I think I've probably contradicted myself this morning.
Oh,
in the 10 seconds that this has been
when
played.
we go back to Iron Maiden, I'm going to end up contradicting myself almost immediately.
If you're new here, let's get this this structure of the Pudding Boys cemented a little bit. If you're new here,
There isn't one.
Yeah, there almost isn't one, but recently there's been a glimmer of hope in this kind of morning talk show, radio show without music or radio.
We talk about music, we just don't play you any.
Sometimes we talk about music, but we'll also talk about video games. We'll talk about Lego, any kind of hobbies.
Paddington's dad.
Trains, pudding, obviously.
Vicks.
A lot of food.
A lot of food.
A lot of food. But the structure is a short talky segment, what we're doing now, like an intro / what we've been doing recently.
Yeah,
Followed
it's just
by-
a bit of a warm-up, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You kind of get to... You basically get to watch us as we sit down again.
Listen to us.
Yeah, watch us through words.
If someone's watching us, I'm a little bit upset because I taped over my webcam for a reason.
Mine's staring into the weird little bathroom in PBHQ. So you're going to see something.
So we've got a talky bit. Then we've got what we only started this last week. Numbers of the Beast, where we're going back through every Iron Maiden album. We'll get into that later. And then we've got the mainstay, the thing that will be here till the end, the pudding of the week.
Basically, we kill time for 20 minutes until an elderly gentleman turns up and gives us something weird made out of,
Well, he doesn't even
Bean
always
paste.
give us stuff if he can't be bothered.
No, if he's had a bad week or, the vapours have hit him a bit hard, he'll just tell us about it.
So yeah, pudding of the week comes at the end of the show, and that's when our guest Thomas Lethbridge shows up and talks to us about a pudding of the world, and Naylor ranks it on a scale that seemingly makes no sense. Let's jump into this first bit. What I've been kind of doing this week, other than trying to justify and classify what the Pudding Boys is, I went back to dragonquest 11, the video game, on PS4. And I think I was 20 hours in when I stopped playing it in August. August is when I last played it, of 2021, obviously. And I had gotten so far in... Well, let's go back even further. I bought it, and then a better version came out with more backstories for the characters and better soundtrack and some more quality of life adjustments. But I think I paid almost full price for it. So I was like, I'm not paying for it again, even though I never got round to playing it. So I'm playing the kind of nerfed version of it.
Yeah.
So, is it Square Enix that does Dragon Quest? No. Who is it that does Dragon Quest? I think it might be.
Quicker than me.
Dragon Quest makers, programmers, studio. It's Enix.
Okay.
So, fuck you, Square Enix. Because, you released a better version of a game that I'd already paid for. It's kind of my own fault, but fuck you.
That's the kind of thing that could be fixed.
Some of the things, it could be a patch.
Yeah.
I mean, the extra quests, sure, sell that separately, but they redid the soundtrack with a live orchestra, and it's like a MIDI on the version I've got, and it's crap.
Kind of a weird flex.
Yeah, but it sounds so much better.
Yeah, but it's kind of a weird thing to do after you've released the game.
Yes, yeah, especially when things like Ni no Kuni sounded so good.
Mm.
I'm saying again. But I went back to Dragon Quest. It's not the S version. I think it's called Dragon Quest S, the better version. It's not that. It's just the standard version on PS4. I was 20 hours in, stopped playing it. I only stopped playing it because I got another game. I think I might have gotten Pokemon Snap, or maybe I started playing Hades.
Sounds
I'm not
about
sure.
Right for summer, doesn't it? Snap.
Yeah, something happened. I started playing that game instead. And I thought, oh, this is fine. There's some games like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto where I know that I can't come back to it because Rockstar seem to think that you've got 12 fingers on each hand and you can access every...
The muscle memory is incredible with those.
I honestly believe Rockstar don't know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to controlling.
I don't know what a human hand looks like.
Yeah, I think...
I lost Red Dead Redemption for that exact reason.
You're grappling with a controller. You've got to put it in a headlock and then slap
got
your balls down on the face
out
buttons.
of your mouth.
Yeah.
And then get someone else to do the controlling.
If you ever need to touch the touchpad with your tongue while holding down every other button on the controller, it's wrong.
Do you remember when Dragon Force used to play guitars with, looked like they were playing guitars with their faces?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It sounds better.
Yes.
When you play that with control with your tongue, but...
Yeah, when I give up on a... Whoops.
That's the first time that's happened.
Yeah, when I give up on a Rockstar game, or not give up, when I stop playing it for a while, I know I can't come back.
Yeah,
I can't come back easily.
I'm going to have to restart Red Dead.
Yes.
I can't recover.
And I can't be bothered to because that intro is so long.
Yeah, it's just
so Red Dead 2, I'm afraid, is done for me, really. There's too much else to play.
You're kind of right as well. 20 hours is it's a weird tipping point because I did that, with the original Ni no Kuni.
Yes.
It's nowhere near as long and complex, but I got to about the 15-20 hour mark, had a break,
and then
I just started to get the muscle memory that was making me good at the game.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't such a learning curve. You only need two hands and the normal amount of fingers.
Yeah. Ni no Kuni is made to actually play, not wrestle with.
Yeah.
I thought Dragon Quest would be dead easy because it's even less complex than now you're dropping stuff. It's even less complex than Ni no Kuni because it's a standard turn-based RPG. It's very retro in that respect. But I came back to it and I was like, what the shit is going on? Some of the characters were controlling themselves. The skill trees looked too complicated for me. I had no idea what was going on. I kind of forced it out because I wanted to get back into it. Because it is a very pretty game. A lot of people's reviews would have you believe that it's perfect. It's not. It's kind of... how do we describe it? It's been done a million times by Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and every other turn-based RPG. The story is vanilla.
Yeah, you're going to have to rip up a lot of trees to branch out in that kind of genre.
Yes, and I realised, for me, as such a big fan of Ni no Kuni 1 and 2, to say that the story is vanilla is a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, but you weren't playing that for...
No, I wasn't playing that for the story. I was playing that for the voice acting.
Yeah. And
Evan!
It's my turn! Yeah.
That's what I'm playing. And the Joe Hisashi soundtrack.
Yeah.
The guy that does the music for most Ghibli films did the soundtrack.
Yeah, you were playing that for the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, the game itself was basically window dressing to you just watching the film.
Yes. But I forced my way through it. I'm back into Dragon Quest. I've put an extra 10 hours in now. And the game has kind of started proper.
Starting to flow back again.
It's one of those things where it's like a 100-hour game. It's not like it gets good around the 30-hour mark, like a lot of people said for Final Fantasy 13? The one with the pink-haired lady? I never got far enough for it to get good. Because I just didn't have time. I was at uni at the time.
Yeah, he's still on sort of beginner island.
And I think... I had that, and I also had Fallout 3, and so Fallout 3 was like instant gratification, so I was playing that.
Yeah, they were always a weird kind of curve, weren't they? I mean, with Fallout, once you'd kind of got past about 10 hours in any of them, you've kind of got it, and all you're doing is getting slightly quicker with your reactions.
When I was thinking about Fallout the other day, because this is all like, I was thinking about all these different things to do with classic RPGs, Western and Japanese. I say classic. Fallout's not really classic. The first two probably are. I was thinking about Skyrim, and I was thinking, well, I leave Skyrim for huge amounts of time, and then come back. Sometimes I start a new character, but most of the time I come back or I went back into the same character. I have a couple of characters now that have pretty much done everything in the game. Apart from one that I've put the most time into, and it's like a really weird build where he only wears furs, but I duped the upgrading system so much that his furs are stronger than armor can actually register. So he's got basically the strongest he can possibly be. Yeah, he's invincible.
Basically a god, yeah.
And he goes around in little fur shoes, and he's essentially naked but with a loincloth on. It's kind of like Conan the Barbarian fanfic type thing.
We're like diving into Blore's, the inner recesses of Blore's head here. You know?
He's super red guard. He's awesome. But like, that one's a weird build then, and I made sure I didn't do the magic quests and stuff because I didn't want him to use any magic.
Yeah.
I'm getting off topic. You can go back to Scrim anytime you want because it's so basic in its control. The game has some depth. I know everyone says, "Oh, it's not Morrowind." It does have some depth.
It's not meant to though. That's what they were kind of going for. It was too heavy for most people to.
It was too heavy for consoles.
Yeah.
So they lightened it up, but there is some depth there. But I think it's underappreciated how easy Skyrim is to just grab and play.
Speaking of Fallout, I kind of find that a bit with that.
Do you reckon?
I can go back
Fallout's
to...
the same?
Yeah, I mean, I go back to 4. You know, if for whatever reason I am very bored, I'll drift back into 4 and just do like some settlement building kind of things. And,
yeah.
And that's a similar kind of thing. After about half a day of farting about on it, you're kind of back in the groove enough that you can...
It reminds me of, do you know when you were a kid and you only had like 10 games? Or probably had like 5 games at any time because you traded them in to get more games.
You're not keeping them at that point.
There was always a couple of games that you kept hold of and you just loaded up to just fart around in for a bit. Funnily enough, one of those games was always going to be like the first Grand Theft Auto or maybe the third Grand Theft Auto or maybe even Vice City.
Vice City was my like early teens kind of.
Were we just better at picking them up as kids, or did Rockstar lose the ability to understand hand?
I think they stopped bolting stuff on. I don't feel like up to about... In fact, Vice City was PS2, wasn't it?
I think I had it on the original Xbox.
Was it San Andreas that was the...
PS2. San Andreas PS2.
That was still PS2, and then it went on to... It feels like when they left PS2...
San Andreas and Vice City are all on PS2.
Yeah. It feels like when they left PS2, original Xbox, it kind of... It drifted from being basically just you fart around the you go
hop in a car and drive around,
try and get the tank or the helicopter.
Yes,
basically. Yeah. And it kind of it's about the time that you started playing cutscenes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. It may have bolted things up. People say that about the new Pokemon games. Obviously, they're not hard to pick up, the children's games, but.
Mechanics wise,
they keep bolting things on.
We were pretty heavy back around sort of black and white.
Yeah.
Even to the point of we had the spreadsheets.
Yes.
And that was reasonably complex, but you could go away from it and not. I could pick up black and white too and understand.
You're not going to have any trouble jumping into a Pokemon game. However, when I was building my living decks, yes, I built a living decks. I had to go back to a lot of the older games, and some of the nuances, like flying around in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, going to the theme parky place, resetting Mystery Islands, things like there was a lot of stuff that I clearly knew how to do back in the day, but I completely
It's even like the underground. Like on this
the underground in Diamond and Pearl,
I kind of dipped and dabbed into it. I feel like when I played it through first time, I spent a lot of time getting that.
Yeah.
This time it was kind of I went down when I needed something explicitly for the game.
Yes. It's strange. I don't know whether going back to games got harder or what am I saying? If games got more complicated to going back to them is harder, or I'm older and I find it harder to just pick up a game.
Probably balance of both. Like you were saying though, I mean, if you think about like the collections that you had when you were kids.
Yeah, you had a much smaller
took 10 to 15 and you've only got one console's worth.
Yeah.
So if you can operate N64 control, you've obviously got another arm.
Yeah.
But you know, you're pretty well versed in that. I mean, looking around this room now, if you swap between like the Wii U and even the Switch, you're swapping between two consoles from the same manufacturer.
I find it difficult to turn the Wii U on and actually get right to the menu.
Yeah.
I feel like a real old man with the Wii U. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a mix of three things. Games are more complicated. For the most part, I think they are.
Yes, definitely.
I'm getting older and I've got more things in my head, so I'm not constantly remembering all the games that I pick up and play. And I've played so many games that some of them start blurring, and others I start forgetting. Like, it took me a good 2 hours to feel comfortable with Dragon Quest again.
Well, when I went back, I've just clocked him in your cabinet. Really nice example, Spyro. You know when they remastered that?
Yes.
Absolute banger. Like,
that
was a perfect.
I feel like that's actually quite pick up and play.
Exactly, and that, I mean, they were one of the first games. When I was a kid, Spyro 2 was the first game that I saw 100% on the PS1. And picked it up, dropped straight back in, and within about 15 minutes, it felt like I'd never really put it down. I played it probably once a year. It had been 20 odd years since the last time I touched a Spyro game.
You're right. Spyro and... What was the Crash one? Insane Trilogy.
Yeah.
You can pick that up and play it. But when I tried to go back even to Mario Odyssey, because I completed Mario Odyssey when it came out, and I was like, same. There's loads of moons that you can still get, and there's loads of fun still to be had. I put it in, I walked out the spaceship, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You would have to go back and play it from scratch,
I think I do, yeah. It's not like Mario 64 or Crash or Spyro.
Do you know, even, they did the the anniversary All-Stars, Mario, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Even Sunshine.
Sunshine is
crap out of Sunshine.
I remember not being very good at it in the first place, though.
I've
always found it a bit complicated.
But it was the same kind of thing. There was some of them just didn't, and Galaxy was the same actually.
Yeah.
It should have been fresher than it was.
Yeah. So to answer to my proverbial question,
you've probably not got dementia, despite what Microsoft News is telling me on my login screen.
Yeah, I'm probably not going crazy, but do you know what? I think it is more games are complicated. Games are more complicated.
Yeah, you have to stick a lot of stuff on now.
I think that's the biggest thing. Yes, I've played more games. Yes, maybe more time also passes between plays, because when I looked at the save screen on Dragon Quest and it said you'd last played this in August, I was like, I swear it was last week. So it is a huge mixture of things, but I can still pick up the Insane Trilogy and play it all. I know everything about it. I know the nuances, it's all there. But that's our little intro segment done.
Really? You're getting towards the checklist, aren't you? We'll have the timer next week.
I think I have to checklist it, but did you notice we introed, we said, I'm Blore and I'm Naylor.
We did. It's almost like we've done this before.
It only took 17 episodes. I think I'm really just struggling with my own brain.
I think basically
post-Christmas.
What you're hearing here is the slow degeneration of a man hitting the prime of his life.
Maybe that's what the Pudding Boys is. It's not a morning talk showy radio show without music. Maybe it's an observation at me rotting inside my own
basically watching the
body.
aging process.
Yeah.
Oh, this is dark. Yeah, we just lost everyone. Except that one weird kid.
Yeah, that one weird kid is
masturbating.
Oh no! Let's not say kid then. Dude, weird dude in America.
Well, kid, we've just established we're old men now. Kid is anyone below 30.
Or kid is anyone below 40. I'm kid.
Yeah, I suppose.
Let's trot on.
Let's get away from this quickly.
Let's get away from masturbation and on to this week's Numbers of the Beast.
There will be a theme bit soon.
I'm probably not going to be able to work one out, but for this episode. But I just want like a wow. Like it gets, I feel that's all you need.
Got that.
Like just a big wow.
We'll pinch something out of when we used to be banned.
Yeah, I'll have a look for something for next week.
We could do that. This one.
This is Killers. So if you didn't know, we're going through all the Iron Maiden albums, and we are ranking them for our own personal taste. We're not music historians, we're not classically trained musicians, anything like that. We're just revisiting old albums from some of our favourite bands. We started really with Halloween, but we're doing Iron Maiden on the Pudding Boys. And we're going through trying to rank the albums in order of like what the best album is to us. I've seen a lot of people say that this week's album, Killers, is their favourite Iron Maiden album. I think they're crazy, but I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we are ranking them for us.
Yeah,
So I'll save yourself some time.
Because we weren't there. We aren't that quite old. We're not quite that old.
But I'll save yourself some time for typing out in the YouTube comment sections.
We're not going to read them.
I don't care if I'm wrong.
No,
I can't be wrong.
We'll get cross enough at each other as we did last week.
Yeah.
One of us controversially thought that Remember Tomorrow wasn't quite the best song in the world.
Remember Tomorrow
One of us doesn't understand Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera is for douchebags.
It's a bop.
Remember Tomorrow is a bop. Killers, 1981. The first thing that strikes me about Killers is how much good stuff there was on the table at that time.
See, this is where we have to be really careful because we are doing this relative to the rest of their catalogue, aren't we?
Yes.
So a 1 is a terrible song for Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
But could be a great song for My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
God, I aged myself then. I think they're all probably dead.
But I think it's worth noting some of the stuff that was out at the time. You could have gone to the record store a year earlier than Killers came out and bought Angel Witch by Angel Witch. They're not equal. I know not all albums are equal, but holy shit.
But the problem we've got with that is, like we were saying earlier...
Was it just publication?
Well, no, I think it's just like... You know, some bands do one great album.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah.
You're buying Angel Witch, you're not buying that one they did in the 90s.
So can you imagine if like you and your mate both went, one of you picked up Angel Witch by Angel Witch and one of you picked up Killers by Iron Maiden? You're going to have, the person that bought Angel Witch is going to have a lot of a better time. Listen, that album is insane.
It is. But
it's absolutely insane.
But what else did they do after Angel Witch?
Yeah, this is true.
This is kind of where I quite like the ranking within themselves.
Yeah, we're only looking at Iron Maiden within Iron Maiden.
You're right. You're again. It's like Judas Priest. You've got some real peaks and troughs. We're going to do Priest at some point.
Yeah,
you've got Saxon around at the same time. If you're going for kind of,
I think we could do Saxon because I know so little about
Saxon. Would be a fun one. Yeah. I think Saxon would surprise me.
I would like to take you through the Mastodon catalogue as well. There's so many bands to do.
Yeah, maybe if you guys can stomach an hour of this, we could do 3 numbers of the beast.
This is the Numbers of the Beast podcast now. Let's just get started. To start off with, Ides of March, I'm not counting because when I did Halloween, things like Initiation, Irritation, and Invitation, they are instrumentals. They are songs in their own right, but really they're intros.
I think the question you've got to ask is, are they ever going to play that?
Other than like intro music on a record being played.
Yeah, like Genghis Khan, Transylvania, they might occasionally trot that out live. Yes. The Ides of March is not getting trotted out live.
No, unless it's their walking on stage music.
A bit like Sabaton do the that Dead Soldiers Waltz, I think it's called.
Don't know, but...
I'll talk Sabaton.
Yeah.
So we're starting with Wrathchild.
Yeah, we're starting with Wrathchild. Now, these are out of 7, everyone, if you weren't here last week. 7 because Halloween's Keeper the 7 Keys and it started with Halloween, but these are out of 7, it works. 7 being absolute perfection.
7, every time you go on Amazon Music or your chosen provider, you're probably going to consider this song.
Yeah.
If they miss it out of a live set, they fucked up.
Yeah.
It's lessened the show because of it.
Yes.
A 7 is a banger.
And I'll reiterate, like if we give something a 1, it's a 1 for Iron Maiden. It could still be, it's still going to be better than anything. God, I'm Slipknot are churning out. Yeah. It's a 1 for Maiden. I don't know what. I don't actually know enough about Slipknot to insult them.
No, I was going to say, just chuck the name out.
Yeah.
A 4 is kind of good for the album. You'll listen, if you're on the album, you'll snap along to it.
4's a good
song. But
you're
probably not going to go to a 4 if you're not listening to the album.
Yeah.
A 3 is where you're starting to teeter on.
You're starting to sit through it.
Yeah.
So, Wrathchild, what did you give it?
I give it a 5.
Holy crap!
But, and I think this is the way I tend to look at it. Steve Harris is bass.
Steve Harris is
bass. But also, I think it's quite telling that that's the one they keep trotting out live. It's that little... But we talked earlier, didn't we, before we came on? You listened to it more than... The lyrics are pretty terrible.
Yeah, I listen to the lyrics and singing more than music, I think.
Yeah, Wrathchild for me is one of those, like, if I'm trying to explain Steve Harris as a bassist...
It's good musically, but that's why I've given it a 3. Because the music is holding all of those 3 up.
I teetered on this one. I think I might have been slightly generous. But you got to go with your gut. And there's no... Yeah, I went back to it 3 or 4 times this week. And... Didn't very much...
Wait, so that means... We've got a big difference in the end of the album. Murders in the Rue Morgue. What did you give it?
I gave it a 5.
You gave it a 5?
I like Murders in the
Say it loud enough for the people at home to hear.
Murders in the Rue Morgue. I've basically spent most of the last week walking around humming the
Yeah, so have I probably, but that's why it's got a 4. It's got a 4 because of the because of the verses. I actually really like the verses.
A 5's not quite.
5's not so far away, but I feel like a 5 is a big leap from a 4.
This is why we like
4
the 7
and lower.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Those two, I felt a little bit generous, but I think the rest of the album might have bumped them up a little.
So I gave Murders in the Rue Morgue a 4 if I didn't already say that. What did you give Another Life?
See, I gave that a 4.
I give it a 2. If it was removed from the album, I feel like the album would probably be better off.
I quite liked, but again, I think it was musically. The lyrics in Another Life are terrible. They're horrible.
It's not so much terrible. It's dull.
Yeah,
it's just dull, and I couldn't stop. I know I'll keep bringing it up, but I couldn't stop. Like whenever I was listening to this, I could only hear the intro to Angel Witch by Angel.
We'll do that one album at some point. And then
I couldn't get over the fact that when I was a kid, you had everyone walking around, and this is I was a kid in the early 2000s. Every kind of cool metaler like posers at school would all be wearing Killers t-shirts. Not the band. They were all wearing like Iron Maiden Killers t-shirts. And I never really got into this album as much as I did
that
later.
That was the 20th anniversary-ish, though.
Probably. And when I started listening to Killers and really listening to it, because I've heard all these songs before, I was just thinking, I was actually kind of getting annoyed. They're like, how could everyone think that this is so good compared to so much other stuff? The problem we have, though, and it comes back to the scale. So that's probably why these things
Iron
maybe
Maiden have done since.
Yes, yeah.
Really do, because I think I'm a little bit guilty being generous because there is a bit of nostalgia. Iron Maiden were my first band.
Yeah.
And going back to Killers was one of the first albums.
They were my first band, really, as well. I think my brother bought me Brave New World, Demons and Wizards by Demons and Wizards. And Treasure Chest by Halloween and Nordland by Bathory. Those 4 albums were my first music.
See, mine were much more like Maiden, but then Deep Purple, Ozzy.
Oh, okay.
So
No, I went back
bigger,
to Led Zeppelin and things like that.
You had a bigger span of
maybe
metal.
I think because my brother was older than me,
See,
I skipped some of the stuff.
He was seeing Diano when Diano was playing with Maiden.
Your uncle, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where a lot of that. What about
Genghis Khan? I give it a 3.
I gave it a 3
because it's half as good as Transylvania.
I knocked it down a bit because I think I was slightly harsh on Transylvania. And we've talked
about
it
a 6.
When I go to instrumentals,
I love it.
I tend to go like really like muso with the instrumentals.
Yeah,
I'd rather Iron Maiden did.
I probably lean towards instrumentals that feel like they have lyrics. You know how some of them do? Whereas Genghis Khan clearly is an instrumental.
That felt like they were noodling about a bit.
Yes. Murders in the Rue Morgue, by the way, I didn't realise this. I've read it as well. It's Edgar Allan Poe. I've read that, but all I could think of was Wasp's Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Yeah.
Innocent Exile.
I was too generous with it. I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3, and I might have been generous. It's fine though.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a decent enough
It's
song.
another one. The music is much better than the lyrics.
The lyrics aren't bad.
Yeah, but the music is.
The music is better. I've really not got much to say about it though. What about Killers?
6.
You're a goddamn clown.
Wait, is this not your 6?
No, it's a 2. It's a 2. It's
boring. You are a fanny. Because
it's the worst song on the album.
Oh, you're wrong.
It's so dull.
Oh, the little natural harmonics bit at the start. You know, there's like that big build up.
Yeah.
It's the big kind of bit where he's I think again though I tend to think in the live kind of context.
Yeah.
Egging the crowd up. Then you get like that's almost a bit like when Joe Satriani used to do the lizard down the neck kind of thing.
It's
you are a moron. I am seriously considering quitting the Pudding Boys because I am so cross.
I can't believe you think that is a 6. And Remember Tomorrow, you said was like a 2.
3.
Yeah, well, it's a 7, but
this was hovering on a 7.
Wow.
Do you know what?
Wow.
You know, on the way here today,
you fucking idiot.
On
you piece of shit.
I had it on 3 times between Greg's and here. And I was just smacking the steering wheel and everything. You're a moron.
Do you know what? I find it very difficult to argue. I'm not a good debater.
No, none of this is fact. I'm just bad.
But at least you've got reasons for why it's a 6. You know, the intro, the biddle. I just put it as a 2 because it's dull, and I got nothing else to say about it. I can't argue that you're wrong. But you are.
It's the raw response, I think, for me. And again, it's a bit like we're going to talk about this at length, obviously, because it's a big one. But the Run to the Hills thing, there's nothing particularly clever going on there. But you know the little hi-hat ride at the start?
Yeah.
And you get that little fizz, you know, when you kind of... Your jimmies get rustled when it starts. Killers does that, and I've forgotten how much I like that.
Your scores for this are quite high. This is much higher than like Iron Maiden, I think you're going to have.
No, it comes out about level.
Alright, well, let's keep going. Prodigal Son.
3.
I can't say
Prodigal Son.
Prodigal Son.
Yeah, 3.
3, I put 3. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's different. See, Prodigal Son, I think I'll put in the same bracket as Remember Tomorrow.
Really?
I'm going to put them on the same... I'll listen to them at the end of the album. And then forget all about them until the next time the album comes out.
Purgatory.
I went 3. I was hovering on a 4.
It's a 6.
You're wrong.
It's a 6.
I'm
so close to putting it as a 7.
Really?
It's the only song on the whole album that I would actually say that's a good song. That's a really good song.
I hovered over Purgatory and yeah.
I've forgotten what the because there's almost like 2 choruses to Purgatory. One of them, I forgot what that doesn't bode well. I have listened to this like 20 times.
Yeah, see,
this week.
I can hum you the whole of Killers right now.
But it's the only one that I didn't listen to again this morning to double check because I'd like fully committed because I was putting this on in the shower. Oh, that's it. The please take me away, so far away. It's so good.
Yeah, I didn't fizz. I might be persuaded.
And then there's another time, another please. Like I feel like that's kind of a pre-chorus, and then you got the please.
Do you know what though? Purgatory is definitely one of those songs that feels very much more like it would have to be Di'Anno singing it.
Well, it's funny you say that. I agree because I wouldn't hear Bruce singing it as well. But when I heard it for the first time this time, so last week when I first put it on, I actually went, that's an Iron Maiden song. To me, it's the first proper Iron Maiden song. It's got all of the tropes that make an Iron Maiden song for me. And that's why I think I've put it so highly. I think this is the progenitor of the next 10 albums.
See, I think that's why I liked Iron Maiden on the last album.
Really? So I don't...
Because it's the...
Iron Maiden's too punky for me. Well, for me to say that about it.
It's kind of getting almost into the realms of Bruce when he comes back.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, the chorus, because when Bruce comes back in Brave New World...
It's three words repeated.
It's the title of the song over and over again. Don't get me wrong, that's my favourite Iron Maiden album.
Yeah, we're going to have like bunting and
I'm going to skew that to be all 7s for a reason.
We're going to add 8 for the Wicker Man.
Oh, 8 for the whole album. Dream of Mirrors.
Oh.
Yeah, Brave New World is so good. But the choruses are so bad, but I don't care because it's so good. Bruce's bin bag jacket, bin bag legs.
In the car.
I
cannot wait to do that album.
ride. Oh, yeah, I can't.
I think we might start doing 3 of this segment a week just to get to it quicker.
The Drifter, what did you give it?
I gave it a 4, and I think
I gave it a 4, and I think I also was too
slightly
happy
generous, yeah.
because I was on a high from Purgatory.
So
I'm always on a woo.
It's a 3-4.
What did you
give
give
it a
Purgatory
4
again?
Purgatory 3.
You're a fucking idiot.
I'm not listening. I listened to it and it was fine.
It's quite.
The songs we go for.
Yeah. Oh yeah, our albums come out around the same.
Isn't it weird though, for saying that our taste in music are fairly well aligned? I'd probably go a little bit faster and heavier. You go a little bit rockier and.
Well, I think I maybe dabble a little bit more sludgy and stonery with things like
Uncle
Acid,
whereas
Red Fang,
bit
things
more
like that.
Not that we talked about.
But I said when we were kids, I think you were always more into like heavier stuff. But
but faster, heavier.
Yeah, I'm into slower, heavier stuff. I guess.
Yeah, whereas you go like Red Fang and stuff.
I say heavy. Someone's like, well, I listen to Nile underwater.
See, I used to listen to Nile underwater.
but like, not. I'm not saying what I listen to is super
what
heavy.
I listen to this for.
Yeah,
but I think that's because a lot of my sixes have been quite up to Killers is an up tempo song.
Yeah,
Phantom of the Opera is very up tempo.
But Purgatory is up tempo.
Yeah, but it's a weird kind of.
Please take me away.
Purgatory's almost into the. It almost sounds like you're going back a little bit from Maiden into the kind of Deep Purpley kind of.
Really? See, no, I for me, Purgatory is going forward. It's Maiden on the way. So what's your total score? There are, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tracks on this album. Because I'm not counting the Ides of March.
Okay.
Fun fact that everyone on the internet likes to point out, Ides of March is the shortest Iron Maiden song ever recorded. I've seen that comment on so many web pages.
It's not a fucking song.
No, it's an intro for Wrathchild, and it's the best bit of Wrathchild. My total score was 30.
Yeah, mine was bigger than that. Mine was 36.
So my average was 3.33 recurring.
Mine's 4.
We're going to rank these and put them together by combining our two scores. So if you take my 3.33 recurring, I'm just going to go 3.33 plus
I think 2 decimal places plenty.
Is plenty. What's yours again? Just 4, flat
4,
out 4?
Bang on 4.
Plus 4. That gives Killers a 7.33. Can you remember what you had for Iron Maiden?
Yeah, 4.13 is an average.
If I go, mine was 4.25. That gives Iron Maiden by Iron Maiden an 8.38. It's quite comfortably higher than Killers. I think it deserves it.
Iron Maiden, I would say Iron Maiden more polarising. Shorter, which we found when we did Halloween, is difficult because a couple of 3/4s.
Yeah, shorter albums can either bring themselves up massively or can screw themselves over.
Iron Maiden for me had 2 6s.
Yeah.
And a 5.
Well, I had a 7 on Remember Tomorrow and a 6 on Transylvania.
So we should probably just discount everything that you've done so far.
Remember Tomorrow is so good.
Don't know.
But I could make a best of Iron Maiden album and it'd be so much cooler.
Nobody would ever listen. You could make a best of Iron Maiden album and it'd be like one of those Roadrunner best of Slipknot albums.
I think,
We're really ragging on Slipknot today.
Yeah, I do. I often use them as my go-to.
I forgot about them.
Smelly band.
A couple of them have.
I think it's just because there's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to bully new metal.
I think that's it. We go back to.
I don't know enough about
basically, the kids that weren't wearing the Killers shirt were wearing that stupid.
Yeah, we're wearing. Oh, that's another fun fact that I found on.
I love these.
I think it might be Killers, and that might be why I didn't like it. That's just come back to me. Papa Roach, the new metal band, just straight up stole a riff from Iron Maiden.
It's got natural harmonics in it.
But Papa Roach stole riff, made it. Might be on Killers. Oh, it's from Genghis Khan.
No.
But I remember that, and so when I was listening to Genghis Khan, I was like, that sounds dumb.
Oh yeah, no, a 4 feels pretty fair.
Yeah.
I enjoy going back to it.
I don't hate your thought. I hate your reasons why it became a thought.
I can't believe you don't listen to Killers.
I can't believe you thought Killers was good. Is Thomas coming in? Where is he?
I don't know. He's probably like...
Wait, he's rattling through the radiators.
He's in the pipes now.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to get the key.
Oh, God. I thought we'd banish liquid.
Hello, boys!
You're going to bleed the radiator. And it's me!
It is I, Thomas Lethbridge, here to bring you the pudding of the week, which, may I say, also needs some kind of intro. If that nonsense about Iron Maidens is getting one, I would like one too. This week's pudding of the week, I'm going to attempt to pronounce in its original Icelandic.
You're going to have to spit the chewing tobacco out before you try it.
It's going to be very difficult. Hris Grona Greta. That's totally wrong, because it's been a good half an hour since I listened to how to pronounce that. Rice porridge, with boiled rice that is often served with cinnamon sugar and cream or milk. This kind of porridge has sometimes been called Christmas ornaments, whether it's on Christmas tables or other days. Porridge did not become commonplace in Iceland until the turn of the 1900s, but it had been most often made with barley. Sorry for that weird cut, Pudding Boy audience. What happened there was our equipment cut out annoyingly and we didn't realise. Let's summarise.
I'll tell you what, actually, tell the gang what you found, because they would have got Tom explaining it.
Yeah, they've had most of Tom explaining. They've got Tom going wrong.
Yeah.
And
in various ways.
Then Tom...
I don't know that one.
Thanks, Echo.
This is just a fucking disaster.
Absolutely.
That's the ghost of Tom just slithered back in.
So Tom disappeared back through the radiator, and he made a fun jingle jangle as he went. Then we were talking about rice pudding and how we like to have rice pudding. We both like the canned stuff. We mentioned in England we tend to bake it. We make it quite thick and then bake it.
You congeal it.
We were looking more closely at the Icelandic rice pudding because we weren't really sure, what the big differences were.
Yeah, at this point we'd basically come out on, for those that play guitar and use only ball strings, we'd come out as a skinny top, heavy bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got some nice fun toppings, some jam, some cinnamon.
The scale was the guitar strings, Ernie ball.
Ernie ball.
And we decided they were pretty fun strings.
They're colourful, basically. They're colourful and they have a bit silly names.
Yeah.
And I picked this one largely because I can imagine this rice pudding in its Icelandic format, it'd come out a bit heavy, when you have to deliver it back.
So I went in and I was saying, it looks like it's often served cold. And we were looking at it a bit more closely. And
because I got mad about it being cold. I mean, that in itself for rice pudding seems...
I was fine with it because it's like a Muller corner. Muller rice.
Okay.
Muller corner.
Yeah, fine. Muller corner, what flavours do you normally have with them?
Oh, I've not had one for years.
I don't know what flavours you don't have.
What? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so we're reading a bit more about it, and it said on this this website, which I haven't mentioned to you because it got cut, IcelandicFoodCenter.com. It's a great website. And I was reading a little bit about this pudding, and it said how to top it. And we usually have cinnamon sugar on top of the rice pudding and a bit of cold milk. Oh, okay. So it does seem like it's served cold, and it's going to be a bit thinner.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to have that skin on top when you cook it. When you cook it in the oven. Almost always. But feel free to do you. Okay, thanks, Iceland. Caramel, nice. Raisins, nuts. Ooh.
I wasn't even mad about the nuts.
No, you weren't mad about the nuts this time. Do whatever. Sometimes we opt for cold liver.
Yeah, see, at this point, this is probably why it cut out, actually.
I think you might have screamed the F word.
Yeah, it's probably a good job that it cut out, because if you're listening to this...
we went on a big ramble about fermented fish, whale...
Shark penis. I mean, I'm fairly sure that Muller Corner's toppings are restricted to, like, strawberry and apricot and fun stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
I've never had a minced beef and onions.
We would...
And we'd still cook that. At least it'd be fucking cooked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, raw liver.
Well, we assume it's raw. Or at least buried in the snow for 6 months.
Harken that ate a horse's heart or something? So we're getting back. Yeah, I do. And this is exactly the kind of shit that these Northern Europeans will pull.
That's some Game of Thrones shit that I don't want to... Yeah, but to cut a long story short, we changed our minds, and instead of ranking the Icelandic rice pudding on the fun, happy-go-lucky, guitar string scale, we rated them
as guitar strings made out of dog poo.
or cat guts, because it's wrong and you should stop doing it.
Yeah.
Don't put liver on your rice pudding, Iceland. Cinnamon sugar, delicious. I might try it. A thin, cold rice pudding that isn't bothered.
Nutella and raisins.
Oh yeah, Nutella and raisins. We keep dropping stuff this week.
Oh no. Like the recorder.
Well, the recorder dropped the best bit of this episode. So fuck you, recorder.
Don't put cold meats on your pudding.
Don't put cold meats on your puddings.
Don't put warm meats on your pudding, if we go back to the Tabak Goksu, but...
Unless you're using suet.
Yeah, you're having some railway cake.
Don't put meat near your pudding. Right, we're gonna leave it there. Sorry about that weird cut to Pudding of the Week, guys. Where can you find the Pudding Boys? You can find us on YouTube if you search Pudding Boys. You can find us on all good podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, maybe another one, I don't know. And you can find us on Instagram as well. Just search Pudding Boys Podcast. And that way you'll find all the fun artwork that I make for each of these weird episodes. And then we had a bit of a joke about slapping some liver on top of the Killers album cover. Ha 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 ha.
You'll see that.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.